Well, it's been a few weeks since we've done one of these, mainly since Ross Chastain's win at Nashville. Since then, there's been three completely different races on three completely different racetracks ran, and unfortunately, due to just bad timing and some things coming up, I haven't been able to get these race reviews out as much as I've wanted to. But now we're back. We're going to be back with race reviews officially starting with Pocono. But I do kind of want to recap everything that I have seen in these past few weeks, how I feel about everything, and I also want to talk about the playoff bubble and my thoughts. Real quick, just to recap everything that has gone on in these past few weeks. If you have not seen it and you have not been following up with NASCAR, let's see. The first race that I missed after Nashville was the Chicago Street Race. I have watched all these races, obviously. I watched them the day of. I just had things come up, hence why I couldn't make videos. But Chicago Street Race was a very interesting race, to say the least. I was very entertained with the racing itself and the racing product, and I was very excited to see how it could go. Unfortunately, weather has derailed NASCAR, and that's been derailing NASCAR for the past few weeks now, as I'll get into that as we go on through each race. This one caused rain to happen. There was so much rain going on, they had to postpone the time of the start and everything. They literally canceled the end of the Xfinity race, but nonetheless, we got 75 laps in, and Shane Van Gisbergen won the race. The, if I'm not mistaken, Australian driver, or New Zealand driver from New Zealand, won the race, his first ever race driving the number 91 for Trackhouse Racing in the Project 91 car. Very happy for Gisbergen. Doesn't make a huge dent in the playoffs, obviously, as he can't compete for a championship, so it's not like it's a new winner. So that was a huge race for Gisbergen, just a huge, pick me up for Trackhouse. Then the week after that, we went to Atlanta, where, yet again, rain struck. It looked like the racing was great the first couple stages, and then, unfortunately, the rain caught up at the beginning of stage 3. Rained the rest of the race out. And going to victory lane for his fourth time this season was William Byron, beating out Daniel Suarez, mainly on strategy and just playing his cards right. He got caught up in a spin out early in the race. I'm pretty sure Corey LaJoie tapped him, and that caused him to spin out. But he was able to recover, come home the victor at Atlanta, which was just very nice to see from William Byron. Daniel Suarez finished second in that race, which made it very interesting for the playoff bubble. If he won it, he would have burst that bubble, though. So things are getting interesting on that bubble. And after I talk about this next race, which is New Hampshire, the most recent race, where Martin Truex Jr. claimed his third win, and surprisingly, his first win ever at New Hampshire. I honestly thought he had won there before, but he had not. I was shocked when I heard that before the race started. But New Hampshire finally goes to Martin Truex Jr. He wins that race, and just, the usual suspects at the front, Truex, Logano, Larson, Harvick had a really good day. But another driver I really want to focus on. There's two drivers, especially the drivers that are hovering around that bubble. And one of them not really hovering around the bubble, kind of just extending his lead. And the other one that is definitely hovering around that bubble. First off, Brad Keselowski, who finished 5th, ran really good. I'm pretty sure he was part of just only 2 drivers that stayed in the top 15 the entire race. That was him and Truex. The entire race, they were both in the top 15, which is a very interesting stat. And the other driver who finished 8th was Bubba Wallace. Had a really solid day in his number 23 machine and was able to come home in 8th position, make the playoffs interesting. Chase Elliott, obviously way out right now, and I'm actually going to be talking about the main point standings now as we are running right now. The playoff bubble is very interesting. Bubba Wallace and Michael McDowell are in right now. Bubba by 2, McDowell by 1. Daniel Suarez is the first driver out by only 1 point. And then you have Allmendinger, who's out by 20, Ty Gibbs out by 41, Alex Bowman out by 42, Justin Haley out by 46, Cindric out by 51, and Chase Elliott out by 60 points. That is the bubble right there. Now, what are my thoughts on the playoff bubble right now? Well, I would say anywhere, as long as nobody new wins, if you are above 15th, so Buescher, Keselowski, Harvick, those drivers, they're safe. Unless they completely just fall off a cliff or other drivers start winning, they're safe. They're going to make it. Bubba's only +2 and McDowell's only +1. Those are the 2 drivers that are not safe. Well, they're not safe. They're in right now. Suarez is on the outside looking in. But the interesting thing is the 2 other Hendrick cars that are out right now. Granted, Alex Bowman was definitely up there competing for the regular season championship at the beginning of the season before he got hurt. Has not been able to find victory lane. And Chase Elliott, who's out by 60 right now, who is obviously out for 7 races with the leg injury. And then also had the suspension, so missed 8 races total this year. He is very much looking for a win. I think it's going to take Chase Elliott winning to get into the playoffs. That's my personal opinion. When it comes to this whole entire bubble, it's going to be very interesting to see who can win with these next 3 races coming up. I will list them off right now. The races before we hit the playoffs are Pocono, Richmond, Michigan, the Indy Road Course, Watkins Glen, and Daytona. So out of those tracks, the drivers are on that bubble. There's not like a specific driver on that bubble or outside right now that I can just point out to and say, yeah, that's a favorite. Besides Daytona, wherever he can win. The only driver I can honestly point out and say, hey, he's a favorite there and outside the bubble is Chase Elliott, where he goes to the Indy Road Course and Watkins Glen, 2 tracks he runs really, really good at, mainly because they are road courses. Watkins Glen he's won twice at. He ran really good at the Indy Road Course last year, where if it wasn't for a little contact late, maybe could have competed with Tyler Reddick for that win. So Chase Elliott definitely has a shot. Though when you look at other drivers, like I look at Bubba, best possibility I would immediately say for him to go win would either be Michigan or Daytona. That would be the 2 best options. Michael McDowell, probably going to be one of the road courses or Daytona, saying he has a good road course background. Daniel Suarez, I almost have to only say Daytona. I know he's good at road courses, but he hasn't been strong on them this year. AJ Allmendinger, definitely his best chance is a road course. Ty Gibbs, I would probably say his best chance would be Daytona. And Justin Haley, Austin Cindric. Cindric has a good shot at road courses, but he hasn't historically ran well on them, surprisingly, in the Cup Series. However, he does run really good at super speedway, so watch out for him. Same thing with Justin Haley. And then Bowman's that guy that runs good everywhere, but it's a matter of will he have winning speed the day of that race. So that's going to be the main thing for Bowman. So the bubble's going to be very interesting, and I'll obviously be monitoring it as we continue to go on through this season. But now, guys, I know it's been a while since I've been here, but I'm back. We're back with videos. We're going to start putting out more videos, especially due to this playoff bubble. We're going to have race recaps going out either the day of or the day after the race, with a couple days after that, a complete recap of the playoffs, how the bubble looks, how it's affected, and everything. And any news updates, everything, especially for hitting silly season. One thing I do want to mention in silly season, if you have not heard already, Justin Haley is leaving Colleague Racing and going to Rick Ware Racing. That's very interesting. But I'll dive more into that when I go into more silly season. I'll be diving more into a playoff retrospective, and we'll continue to look at how these races are going. But guys, enjoy your weekend. I'll be back with y'all after Pocono. See you on the next one.